My name's Dave Morison. I live in Burnaby and I'm 73 years old. I've completed 260 hours in the Unlimited Pilot Project. Well, I'd been diagnosed in 2018 with prostate cancer. So at the time it was pretty early on, and prostate goes slowly, so I thought maybe I could just overcome it myself. And it was scary. It put me under a lot of stress. It felt like I was being chased by something. That went on until last summer in August when I had 3 heart attacks. So the 3 heart attacks had me re-enter the medical system, and my doctor was quite concerned about the prostate. They discovered that my prostate had gone from 16 all those years ago up to 80. When I found EESystem, I had just had these heart attacks and they devastated me. They really devastated me. I had absolutely no strength. The heart attacks left me with a bunch of different problems. I was tired physically and mentally. I could sleep 14 hours. It wouldn't matter. I'd get out of bed tired. The second side effect was just pain in my muscles if I tried to use them. So just walking up a mild uphill, my legs would just start torturing me like I was doing an extreme workout or something, or worse. It felt really sore. The third effect was being out of breath really easily. I'd get winded fast, and I had to stop and rest and breathe. The first month after the heart attack, the cardiologist had removed my driving privileges, so I had to get everywhere on the bus. And just getting on the bus and trying to hang on, to a strap and going somewhere and coming back, I'd be exhausted doing that, just going and trying to do shopping or anything. And I'd go out and I'd come back and I'd just have to go back to bed. That had become my new normal, not being able to get around much. The fourth major effect of these heart attacks was I had no mental energy, but it's like suddenly becoming mentally disabled. I couldn't remember things at all. I couldn't follow a conversation if somebody was talking to me. If I jumped into the conversation and I had something I wanted to say, I'd forget what I was saying. I'd just lose track of it. The fifth issue I had was severe neck pain. If I was standing or walking, either one, it would slowly get worse and worse. It would usually compel me. I'd have to sit down or I'd have to take care of it. When it got up to about a 9 out of 10, for pain, I couldn't do anything. The sixth effect, this cough, I woke up, it would keep with me all the way until I went to bed again. I had to. And the sixth effect that I had was cough. It would start when I woke up and it would keep with me all the way until I went back to bed again. I just all day long coughing right after cough, cough, cough. That was non-productive. I had to cough. The effect of that was just, again, to wear me out even more. That was just so tiresome, coughing all the time. It just added to the rest of the problems where I just had no effort or energy for anything. The final side effect I had was being dizzy. And when I woke up in the morning and threw my legs over, have to sit there for a minute or two because the room would spin. I had to be careful when I stood up to make sure that I wasn't going to fall down. And that dizziness was severe every morning like that, but it was intermittent through the day. I'd just suddenly feel a wave of dizziness. And I also just felt like it was incipient. I have to be careful. So I was always holding banisters and hanging onto walls and stuff like that, just because I didn't know if it would get worse at any time. It's just, dizziness is really distracting, really difficult, when it just goes and goes and goes. And doctors don't really seem to know anything about dizziness, why you have it or how to get rid of it. And so, I just didn't know if it'd ever go away. So many things happening that made life so dismal and difficult. I couldn't talk to people, I couldn't follow them, couldn't even read. If I was in bed too long, I'd want to get up, but every time I got up, I'd be in pain and dizzy. It was difficult for me to do anything. Like, I'd have to go shopping or something. It was an ordeal all the way there and back, So it was just still willing to be alive, but boy, it really had me pushed into a corner. It made me feel like, oh well, maybe that's it. I'm done. Well, I originally saw a little documentary online with the originator of EESystem, and it made a bit of an impression. I thought that sounded interesting. A friend at where I live told me that there was an EESystem's place open in Vancouver now. And so, and she'd gone to it and had pretty strong response right away. So I came down and I booked 2-hour sessions. I really didn't feel a great deal different, but the experience of being down here, I kind of had the feeling that if I spent enough time under these lights, I just got to help. When I heard about the pilot project, I came down and signed up, and I found it a very pleasant place to come, a nice community, people who were looking outside the box for answers to their physical problems, people who were kind of open-minded for things and stuff. It was a good community. The variety of different people's life stories here. And I like the supportive nature of everybody. Everybody's trying to help. So I didn't have that anywhere else in my life. So it was pretty easy to start spending more and more time down here. And I still value that sense of community that Maahi has. After the heart attack, I was in that bad state. I didn't know if I was going to stay that way. I didn't know if that was just my new normal, that I'd never be able to carry a conversation or walk more than 50 feet or, get rid of this pain in my neck. Kind of a unsettling time, not knowing whether or not things would get better. So when I came to Maahi, it took a while for things to begin improving, but it was a nice environment. I like the optimism here. First change that I noticed, reduction of in the day, there'd be, and then it'd come. So I'd get a reprieve. The first change that I noticed was a reduction of the amount that I had to cough in the day. There'd be time in the day where the cough would be gone, and then it'd come back. And now after the pilot, I don't have to cough at all, really. I might cough once a day, so it's just gone. The second change that occurred for me in the pilot project was a reduction of the pain in my neck. It went from being, 9 out of 10 down to about a 2 out of 10. It slowly went down a little more from that to where it was like a 1 out of 10 most of the time, but it would spike up once in a while. So that was fantastic, just to be free of that pain. Because it had been so incapacitating, I could walk a bit, I could stand up a bit. It would still come back over time if I spent enough time walking, but not to the same degree. It might get up to a 4 instead of up to a 9. Well, the third change that I had was a change in energy, both physical energy and mental energy. So I could communicate with people again, that was nice. And I could also walk further or do things again, although I tire easily still. But I have periods of time, like 6 to 8 hours a day now, where I can do stuff. But from where I am now, I will be starting to do exercises with the cardiac clinic and weightlifting and things like that. And other hints from Maahi of improving my diet, exercising, walking, rebounding, those kind of things, I can do that now. The fourth change I saw was a reduction generally in pain, but also my back was constantly in pain before. I just kind of got used to it. So when the neck pain went down enough, the other back pain became more obvious, something that I should go to a chiropractor for. So I've had great results there. So I think that, he's working on my middle back, my neck. So all that pain in my neck was referred pain. I would have never known that if I hadn't come to Maahi. I wouldn't have had the clarity of be able to see that pain was reduced but wasn't gone. I didn't know, but I had broken a bone in my back. So that's being fixed now. Yeah, the fifth thing I noticed was the ability to talk with my friends again and be able to understand what they're saying and be able to participate socially. When that ability returned, people would volunteer. I'd really been looking sick. I was really very sick looking, and they were concerned for me, but now I'm kind of my old self. So partially my old self. I think that it's like when I was originally had my heart attacks, it's like if you were in a hospital and all the power went out. And then and after a period of time, the generators come on. So, it can power the OR, it can power different areas that are important, but it leaves a lot dark. And that's sort of where I feel now, where I am with my energy. I have enough energy for the crucial things, but it hasn't returned back to the same type of energy I had prior to the heart attacks. The sixth thing that I noticed changed was a return of cognitive function. Being able to read a book, being able to communicate with people, being able to organize myself. It had been severely compromised, so it was like 9 out of 10 of damage. Only a little bit of me hanging on there. It's gotten a lot better, but it's to a 1 or maybe a 2 out of 10 of impairment. I'm still forgetful, and I don't have the same clarity that I used to have, but it's close. I don't lose my way when I'm talking to people anymore. It's nice. The seventh change that I noticed is just my ability to walk. Struggling to do 50 feet to where I can walk about a mile now. I have to walk on the flat to get a whole mile. Going uphill, I get tired still. I have to rest a bit, but I can make it up hills now. And, it's encouraging me to join the cardiac club for the hospital. They have instruments that will show whether or not I'm overdoing it, or if I can go harder, or what I should be doing. And I think that that's important. They weren't inviting me until recently. I think that they were waiting for me to be better enough that they could accept me. So I think that I've improved enough that they can now. I'm feeling like that's a big improvement, and it'll be a good support for me. So the eighth change that I noticed was that my dizziness largely went away. It had been strong enough that I always had to be concerned. Sometimes I'd just kind of fall against a wall. It felt like it was always there, always incipient, waiting to happen. So I had to be on alert. And so if I was ever going upstairs, I'd always have to hold the railing. I'd always have to be concerned that I wouldn't fall. And I actually did fall when it was at its worst. And I didn't even notice that going away. When I went home, I had a little transient bit of dizziness when I was on the stairs. So I grabbed the banister and I climbed the stairs. And then when I got to the top of the stairs, I thought, man, that used to be so much worse. That used to be all day. And now it's just like once in a blue moon. So it's gone from like around a 5 down to like a fraction of 1. The ninth change is feeling some hope and optimism. When I arrived in here, I was a shambling wreck, and really, I was getting iffy about the prospects of living. So coming to Maahi during the pilot project has changed. I feel more optimism and a possible healthy outcome. It's much improved in attitude. There's something about the lights, I think. Something about the EESystem helps to spur optimism, plus just being around other people that are positive. It's been important for me. Yeah, the 10th change that I've noticed is an increase in intuition and discernment. Being able to just look at something to see if it's true. You don't have to determine with a bunch of reasoning. And that's how I felt looking originally at the Maahi setup. It baffled my logical mind. It was already very baffled anyway. I couldn't think very hard there. But my intuitive side thought, yeah, I think this will work, kind of thing. So being around and doing the 260 hours, there's been times when I think that my intuition has sharpened. I think that the EESystem has somehow been stimulating elusive higher frequency, or a sense of being more at peace and more connected to people, recognizing other people are just the same as you, only different. And really we have more in common. I think that there's something about the EESystems, my belief is it stimulates a higher frequency for us, that we can resonate with it while we're here. Yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, I think that the frequencies, it's not certain what's going to happen, but there's so many people getting well here, particularly people who have something like I had a heart attack, and where you're really left diminished, and you stay that way. I was that diminished, and I'm feeling better now. Yeah, go give it a try. I mean, you might be restored to normal. I think that other people would also come down here. They'd find that it's a community. They'd feel encouraged. We're all down here doing our healing journey. We all have our issues, and there's a sense of optimism here. So just all in all, I think it's a good experience for people. I'm in favor of the unlimited pilot project. It took me a while before things started happening for me, but I know that a lot of people come in here and things happen for them pretty quickly. It's worth a try. One of my favorite things about the pilot project was the community. It felt like all of us came and played in the same sandbox. We all had our issues and things, but there was a community sense of trying to do something alternative, trying to do something outside the box. So it's an interesting bunch of people that will think that way and put their bums in the seats. I appreciate that I enjoyed the other people.